Good morning, folks, and welcome to this morning's video. So I didn't make a video on Wednesday and on Thursday because I had to attend a hospital appointment and a doctor's appointment with my partner, who's very ill at the minute. So didn't have time to make videos those mornings, but I am back this morning. And just to say that yesterday, trades are a little bit like buses. You wait ages for one and then two shape up at once. So I placed two trades yesterday. One was on Euro Kiwi, which I'm going to break down for you in a second. That was the first of the two. That was actually a loss. Okay, another textbook entry which just didn't play out for reasons unknown. And another trade which I'm still in on Euro CAD. Okay, and that is currently running at about 2.5% profit, or I'm risking 0.5% per trade, so 2.5x, so 2.5 times my investment, with about 1.32, I think it is, locked in. So I'll break Euro Kiwi down for you. Then I'll go through the pairs, and then when we get to Euro CAD, because I've also got that on watch today for a possible second entry, I'll talk to you about that trade. So pound Aussie, Euro Kiwi, the trade that I placed yesterday. So we were looking at this. I was looking at this on the higher time frames because we just look at this. We have, so that was the, where are we? Thursday. Yeah, so that was placed yesterday. So this would have been the previous daily close. Quite bullish, but you'll see why I was looking for shorts as we drill down. We left a gap there to that low. So on the higher time frames, if we zoom out, we tapped into that area. Okay, we broke above, moved to the downside, and even on the daily chart, you can see the impulse correction continuations, impulse correction continuation. Bit of a kind of corrective move down, but that's what I would kind of anticipate with Euro Kiwi. So I was looking to target these lows here, okay, which this low near miss to. When there's near misses, that often implies that we're going to gravitate towards those areas. So I'm analyzing the sequence. I can see that we had that sharp move up there. Then we start to trend, okay. We had the, and this is a characteristic of Euro Kiwi, that it tends to, we get these expanding patterns with higher highs and lower lows before price commits. We then tap into, if I just drill down a little bit. So we have that completed structure there, leave a bit of a footprint there. We break just above, move to the downside. We get this structure here. Okay, we do fail to retest the to tap into that area, but we do retest the back end of this where there's likely orders sat just above. We push to the downside from there. We push back up. We have this sharp move there. The sharp moves are often where the liquidity is. So, you know, I'm not surprised when we kind of near miss to it here that we spiked just above and then pushed to the downside. Okay. If we just, so I'm just going to get the trade. Where is it? The trade is there. Okay, so let's play this forward a little bit. Where are we? We're on the 1 hour chart. So we had the, there we go. So price started to correct here. So I was anticipating one of my stipulations on my forecast was if we get a 1 hour correction, if it's structured, I'll look for a 1 hour risk entry within it. If it's not structured, I'll look for a 15-minute risk entry. So you can see the impulse correction, and now I'm just looking for further continuation. We've tapped an area of significance, okay? So we've retested the back end of this whole zone. We've tapped into a sharp move. We've pushed to the downside with momentum. We've corrected afterwards, and now I'm just looking to ride the wave of this impulse correction, continuation to push lower, to take out those gaps that I was talking about. And if we just play this forward one more candle, so now I'm down on the 15-minute chart. Okay, and I can see the structure. Okay, so one of the things I'm trying to pay more attention to. So we've got this sharp move here. I like this because it's sharp. That implies there's liquidity there. Okay, so if we come back up to retest and spike just above, if we think of this, many people will be looking at this as resistance now. So they'll have their stops just above. Okay, if the people selling here believe that this is resistance, they will have their stops just above. Okay, so what I was looking for, you can see we have the high there, we have the gap to it. What do we also have? We have an expanding pattern, which is a characteristic of Euro Kiwi. So then we have the we're not in this area. We close in that area. So I'm seeing this now. I'm trying to pay more attention to what we call signal price action. So this is signaling to me that there's liquidity in that area. This didn't really close at the area, but this did. So I waited for the next candle as the confirmation candle. And because it would have been a little bit too far into the pattern to have my, we try not to have our entries more than halfway into the pattern. So what I did is I set a little limit order. So when this closed, I set a little limit order here, and then so we had the signal price action confirmation, and then I just let this do its thing, and then it just took me out like that. And then people say things like, well, what did I do wrong? Well, if you've tested it, if it's what you've been taught to do and you've tested it and it's been proven to be effective in testing, then you didn't do anything wrong. You just rolled the dice, and if you roll the dice enough times and you've tested something enough times, then you'll make money long term. But if you don't roll the dice, then you can't make any money. So hopefully that makes sense. So that was just a very quick loss. So let's move on because we've still got a lot to break down. So as I said previously, if you're watching outside of our Falcon community, if you're watching on TradingView or YouTube, I'm not one of these people who's going to hide stuff. I'm not one of these people who rents a Lambo and then gives you all this nonsense about how much money you can make. I'm going to give you all of my trades that I place, and it's going to be done honestly, and it's not going to be done with any fluff, okay? That's how I live my life, so in general. So on this one, this is what I'm looking for today. So we have the impulse down correction. We've tapped into, if we just zoom out a little bit more, I'm going to have to speed up. We do have this 1, 2, 3 touch structure. We break just above and we've pushed down with momentum. Okay, we've retraced more than 50% of the length of this candle, and even on the weekly chart, I can see the impulse correction continuations. I like this bearish candle there. When you get the big wick and the heavy body, it's indicative of a washout. Okay, you can see the correction there. We've got an impulse down. We impulsively broke the lows of this structure, and now we're correcting afterwards again. And once again, I'm just looking to target these gaps here. We've got a near miss to that low, near miss to that low, near miss to there. We only wicked to this area here. So there's reasons to come back down, because if people were buying here, there's likely a zone of stop orders in that area, which price would need to tap into. Okay, so what I'm looking for on this pair, so you can see the completed structures there. If we just analyze this, we've got structure there, another structure there. This comes up, taps into there. We get a bit of a V shape. We retest the back end of that, and now we've left a footprint there. Okay, and all I'm looking for is just for, we're in that area there. Where are we? Wait a minute. What's happened dim? Okay, my forecast has gone a bit, not quite sure what's happened here. Okay, I think I had this on as my area of value. For some reason my stuff has moved, but let me just check something a minute. What did I write on here? Let me have a look. Okay, nothing. I'm trying to do something here at the minute. Okay. Right, I was actually looking for something specific there, but what I'm looking for in this one, I don't know why everything's moved here, but let's redo this how it was before TradingView has changed it all. What I'm looking for is a push down followed by a 15-minute continuation, okay, from this area here. That should not be the area of value, because this is the one that I'm interested in at the minute. Okay, so we're going to put that back on. Some strange things happening with TradingView at the minute. I'm not quite sure why that is, but you can see here we're retesting the back end of this overall zone. Okay, we've got these lows here. Okay, so it's highly likely, especially as we've got there in a reversal structure. Look at the gaps. Price is indicating to me that there may be liquidity here. Okay, and now we're getting that kind of signal price action that I was just talking about. So I wouldn't be surprised, just because of how much volume we've built here at the minute, if we actually pop a bit higher, okay, before popping back in. But either way, I'm going to be looking for a push down followed by a 15-minute continuation. And then I would look to get short either with a risk entry within it or a reduced risk entry on the break. And then we would have down to that area about 4%. And then I would target the next low where I would set a take profit, because that's where I set take profits if there's a minimum 5% profit potential on that one. So I'm also going to set an alert here just to see if we pop up. Okay, now I can't set alerts for some reason. Some very, very strange things. I know what it was. We're still on bar replay. There we go. There we go. Now it makes more sense. I was completely confused. I was completely confused. I thought that didn't look like that a minute ago. Right, let's roll that back, because that was yesterday's price action, right? We've tapped into. Let's get that back on the chart. Okay, we can't get it back on the chart. Okay, let's change it back to how I did have it. So I've forgotten that they've done an update with TradingView that when you do a bar replay on one pair, okay, it does it on all of the pairs, which is a bit confusing. So let's analyze this, how it actually is now, not how it was. That completely flummoxed me, because I thought that didn't look like that at all. So we've tapped into that sharp area there, and we've had confirmation of the move down. So we had this. I was looking for this, but it went during the night. I did realize that probably would go during the night, because pound Aussie, the Australian dollar, can move during the night. Now, all I'm looking for now is a correction underneath this one that likely retests the back end of that, and then I would look to get short. Okay, that's what I'll actually be looking for. And then I'll be able to target that low, and then I'll be targeting that next low for that take profit that I was talking about. So I've got a Google Calendar reminder to remind me to check this, because that looks a little bit, if we look at this on the 5, that looks a little bit undeveloped at the minute. So I'm just letting this develop a little bit more and likely retest the back end of this, and then we'll see what happens. So that is pound Aussie. Going to have to speed up now after all of that. So let's break down the trade. So previously I was looking for same sort of thing as with the last pair. We have that impulse correction continuation on the daily. Impulse correction, just looking for further continuation to take out these gaps here, okay? Near miss to there, near miss to there. Same mechanical thought process. If we just roll this back, I'm going to roll this back because everything's gone a bit Pete Tong at the minute. So we were up here, okay? I'm going to just speed run this a little bit. So this is a 4-hour structure, okay? This is a 4-hour structure, and even that approach leading up to it is a 4-hour structure. So when it's a 4-hour structure, so the highest time frame I can see it on is the 4-hour chart, the actual structure. My entry requirements are either a 4-hour rejection or two 1-hour rejections, okay? So we came up to this area. There's your signal price action. Price has signaled that there's liquidity in the area, and it's also a rejection candle. So that is technically the first rejection candle, and there's the second one. So my entry requirements were met, and now we can find the trade. So what I did is, so price has also retested the back end of that. Okay, I put my entry just below. I cropped through the wick because there's no reason for price to come back up here. It's washed out all of the liquidity. That's what this wick is suggesting. So then we pushed down. Almost got taken out there actually by that wick. I don't know if you can see that. I was probably a few pips away from being taken out. We plummeted to the downside when we were, where was it? So this was coming up to swap hours now. And I didn't want to, because the spreads can get a bit wide. I waited until after swap hours. So here, and then once that had calmed down, the Asian session had started. I put my stop loss just above this structure to give this structure room to form and to give price a little bit of room to spike above and then spike back down. And then, so you can see the structure forming. We seem to be getting a bit of an expanding pattern. So I've got about 1.32 locked in at the minute. Okay, stop loss is down now there. And what I'm looking for on this pair is I'm looking for just further continuation. I'm looking for price to, I'm not interested in looking to get short on the break because we wouldn't have much room to manage it to these lows. What I'm looking for is specifically a risk entry here within the structure. So if price comes up, taps into that, even if it takes me out, I'm not bothered. I'll be looking to get short. So long as we don't break and close above that. If we just spike above and spike back in, or just ever so slightly tap above, I'll be looking to get short for further continuation. And of course, I'll let you know how that trade actually plays out. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. So that is Euro CAD that has currently offset the previous loss and running at what's that running at? I'm not quite sure what that's running at. So it's running at about 2.28 at the minute, but we'll just let that do its thing. I'm going to lock that. There we go. Locked. Move on. 2 more pairs to get through, so we'll have to speed run this a little bit. So on the higher time frames, you can see that yes, we broke above that on dollar yen and we've pushed to the upside, but you can see here we have a daily high that we've tapped into. We've got the signal price action. Price stalled in that area and wicked ever so slightly above. Okay, signaling that there may be liquidity there for a move to the downside, and we also have the gaps to the lows again. So we could be playing this literally just a range play down to here to take out these lows. Okay, and we've got the gap there to that next low. You can see, look at this. This is a very bearish profile. We signal price action. We have the follow through on the 4-hour chart. We have further follow through. I'm just being a bit cautious on this because we have come from a move up, and this could still be a consolidation to push sideways, to push higher. So I want to see a bit more of this bullish candle retraced before I look to get short, okay? And you can see that on the 1-hour chart, we've moved down quite correctively. So all I'm looking for from this is I'm looking for just a bit more of a push down, which we seem to be getting now. Seem to be getting that. And then I would look to get short with either a 15-minute, I'll be looking for a 15-minute flag, 6 to 8 corrective 15-minute candles. Okay, just looking for the market to show me a bit more of a move down. And then I would look to get short either on the break or within it. And then we've got these lows to target down there. So next up on the list is, where are we? So I'm going to set an alert on that, a Google Calendar reminder to remind me to check this shortly after this broadcast to see if we get that correction that I'm looking for. And last up is euro dollar. Okay, so euro dollar, we have, so on the higher time frames, we have potentially let's try that again. We potentially have an impulse correction continuation to push higher to take out that sharp area of liquidity where there was a big sell-off last time around. Okay, so if we were to push back into this structure, then I'll be looking to get long. So I'm kind of neutral on this. However, if we just zoom in a little bit, so the 4-hour chart is quite a deliberate time frame. It takes a lot of time for these structures to form, so therefore it's very deliberate. So the base of all of this volume is here. Okay, but we've got the gaps to it as well. So either these gaps to this low are implying that there's liquidity there for a move to the upside, or price is just consolidating underneath to push lower, okay, because we are still moving in the form of a trend, okay. However, we do have the gaps up here, okay, which could be taken out as well. So I'm neutral on this. So quite simply, I'm waiting for the market to show me what it wants to do, and what that would look like with 2 minutes of this video left is if we break, okay, so if we break back above this area of interest as I've got it marked, and we correct afterwards, any form of correction will do, then I would look to get long on the break or within the correction. Okay, we would have that impulse up by that point, and then I would be targeting that high there, which narrowly missed that high. Okay, if however we form a structured 1-hour correction, okay, so this looks undeveloped at the minute. If we formed something like that, which likely retested the back end of some of this, then I would look to get short, and I would protect my stop where it was relevant for me to do so, and I would look to get short. Okay, and I would be targeting this little sharp move there, which narrowly missed the base of all of this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be looking for today, folks. And I have an alert set, which likely will trigger shortly. But actually, I'm going to reset another one there. I'm going to put another one there. Okay. And then we'll see what happens. Okay, and I'll bring you the outcome of that trade that I'm in as well. But that is what I'm going to be looking for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Adios, amigos.